Oh, hello! Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show in which we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate The Last Jedi, one explosive minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I'm Jordan D. White from the pages of comic books sometimes. I've appeared in them.
Welcome back, Jordan, for minute 63.
Sometimes you're from the pages, sometimes you're from the cover, sometimes you're from the staples. You're all over the place.
I'm very rarely acting as a staple in a comic book. Once in a great while.
Well, in the conceptual scheme of things, you are very much the staples, and you're holding it all together.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Minute 63 starts off with Luke pondering Rey's boastful claim that she won't fail him. And it ends a minute later with Holdo telling Lieutenant Cadel Connix to steady on.
Cadel Connix.
Yeah, so we go back to, and we have anything else to say about Rey and Luke? Or just move on to the,
yeah.
I mean, I really do think Rey's great. I don't cotton to any of that nonsense about people not liking her. She's one of the, I think all the characters in this trilogy are just so vibrant and fun that, like I said, even though I don't really like Rise of Skywalker, I like so much of it just because I like seeing them. Like, I'll just watch them more. Did you guys watch if the answer's not yes, then you guys are all fired. You guys watched the holiday special.
The new Lego one?
Lego one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just so delightful. And I know it's not really their voices, but I just was like, this is amazing. I love it. Anyway.
We talked about it at the time, but I think I liked it, but I feel like I walked into it with holiday special expectations, which to most people would mean that they were pleasantly surprised, and to me, I was like, I was expecting more like the holiday special.
Gotcha. There's way more holiday special references in Mandalorian than there are in the new holiday special.
There you go.
But I'll tell you,
overall,
my son was blown away, especially because if you have not seen it, you should watch it. It's delightful. Spoilers. There's a scene where Darth Vader meets Darth Vader and they fight, and that was his favorite thing in the world. We had to watch it like 10 times over the course of a couple weeks because he would just be like, the one where Darth Vader fights Darth Vader, do that one. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
He wants a Being John Malkovich version where it's all Darth Vaders.
All right, that's enough about Rey. That was barely about Rey, but that's enough about Rey.
I believe the same scene also has Luke Skywalker the green lightsaber, so I'm there for you.
Yep. Seems like a meeting waiting to happen. We're back to Admiral Holdo and the case of the slow fleet.
So
slow fleet.
I made an allusion yesterday to another thing that doesn't actually make sense that I didn't see that someone later pointed out to me. And it's this whole sequence. Now, so like people like to make fun of, it's a movie where there's a 2-hour long slow chase. How do you find that exciting? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's just fun. And I was at first very dismissive. I was like, because I get it. Like they're all, it's not slow. They're all going so fast, but they're going so fast the same. So it relatively doesn't look like they're going fast, but it's so fast. But then at some point, I don't remember if somebody pointed it out to me or if I just realized, oh yeah, hold on, wait. They would just go, there's hyperspace. They would just go, hey, other ships. They're heading towards a planet. Just jump to that planet and get in front of them and then shoot them to death. And I went,
hyperspace.
Doesn't make any sense.
Luckily, the First Order never thought of it. So
they really just don't.
They're going in a straight line. That could just hyperspace 100 feet in front of themselves and be like, whoop.
Yeah. Or even if you're even if you don't want the people who are literally doing the chasing to do it.
Right. Have somebody else.
They've got their buddies. Yeah. They know there are other ships. And
they're
then
the cops.
I realized that I was like,
and also, if they have a tracking device, why chase them at all? Why not just wait till they get to where they're going and then go get them? It's not like the Death Star was following right behind the Falcon as it left to go to Yavin 4. I guess in a sense it was, but that would have been funny actually if they had we're going as fast as we can, but we're perfectly in sync with each other.
I mean, they're not tracking the. It's not like they can just look and see where they're going. They can, based on where they if they're watching them while they go to hyperspace, they can figure out where they're going. I think that's the active hyperspace tracking. So they can be like, okay, bleep, bleep, we saw where you went in hyperspace. But they can't just like go home and then get a report on like where they went in hyperspace. I think they have to, it's the active tracking part. They have to actively be tracking them.
Gotcha.
As opposed to passive tracking where they can just look on their phone and see like, oh, rebels are at crate.
But none of that, but again, none of that matters because that's the reason that they like that the good guys going to hyperspace wouldn't work. There's no reason the bad guys can't go to hyperspace.
Yeah.
Well, they should just be able to take them.
There are plenty of reasons for both why it doesn't work. But again, if I'm entertained, I don't care.
Yeah. Watching the movie, I didn't think of this or care. I just had a good time. It's only afterwards when everybody's ripping on it that I was like, oh.
Well, here's something I noticed watching this minute that is technically, it's one of those wonky physics things of Star Wars, so it is not technically accurate, but it doesn't matter in this case. Who cares? It's still a cool thing. But so the medical frigate is going, and they run out of fuel, which makes them slow down, and then they trail behind, which would not happen.
The slowing down can work because if you assume that everybody's going really fast, it's not slowing down in the way that it looks like it's slowing down. It's really just not speeding up, whereas everybody else is going fast all the time.
Oh, wait, so you think they're speeding up the whole time?
Well, or at least, that's a tough call.
Because in space, if you cut the engine, it should just keep going the same exact speed forever.
But everybody else didn't cut their engine. Everybody else has their engine on. So if your engine's on, wouldn't you be speeding up all the time? Wouldn't you?
Right.
I don't know.
It would be like, what if what you're saying had a bearing on this, Alex, then there would be no need for fuel at all. They would just all keep going.
Well, that's again the physics of Star Wars are wonky, so it doesn't.
But even regardless of the slowing down, why would it list like that? And that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I guess they can't because they can't. Because it would be affected now by gravity and get.
Well, I guess
it would theoretically start getting pulled back towards this. Maybe that's why, because it's getting pulled back towards the gravity of Snoke's ship, which is enormous. Would theoretically start pulling the ship back.
The enormous.
Think of the gravity of the ship. Wow.
I was thinking, they had some kind of low-level tractor beams because they're chasing them, and you see that it like once it gets in that range is when it starts to kind of
The other question is, so we see the captain guy, who is listed as unidentified Anodyne pilot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jordan, what's up with that?
Wow. Where are the trading cards and role playing games to help us here now?
Well,
why does this happen?
Or the podcasts? Come on, this is what we're talking about. See, where's we got to name this guy?
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Name him?
Yeah, he's portrayed by Danny Sapani. Danny Sapani. Who's been on a lot of British television stuff, so it's almost like a little cameo of if you were a frequent viewer of British television, you might be like, oh, it's that guy. But he's unidentified Anodyne pilot, which seems weird to have somebody who has a line like that not have a name. But so we can give him a name.
That's mind blowing.
Mind blowing. That's your name for him.
I like it. It kind of has a hornblower kind of feeling to it.
Let's go back. Let's go back to Dangier style. Let's name him after one of his lines.
I like that.
What does he say? Godspeed, rebels.
He does.
There you go. Godspeed, rebels.
No, that's too blatant.
that was him signing off. Farewell from Godspeed, rebels.
It's like Ken Burns' Civil War. He's like, we're out of fuel and we're about to be destroyed. Signed, Godspeed, rebels.
What about something like Rob Speed Goebbels?
There you go.
Goebbels is a little iffy.
Never mind on that.
Although let's use his, Danny Sapani,
Banana Pana Popani
in there. Like Depani Godspeed. No, Godspeed is too. Depani Rodspeed. That sounds.
That's his porn name.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, give us a call if you have a good idea for his name. Clearly, we're all stumped.
Why does he have to stay on there?
Yeah, that was the other question I was going to ask. Is it seems like at that point, if the whole crew is evacuated, why can't he also evacuate?
Probably you just need one person to hit the evacuate button, right? For the like
You
as
just
they
keep
launch.
holding it down.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you know what it is that there's a
What?
gas pedal that he has to keep his foot on.
Oh
until they run
yeah.
out of
In
fuel.
order, yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
they
can't
get-
just set it and forget it. It's gotta
I wish there was a scene of him being like, "Well, can't we just have one of the droids?" Sorry.
Oh God! I didn't even think of a droid. You're absolutely right. That makes no sense.
Oh, you might not have, due to time distortion, you might not have heard us talking about this, but we theorized maybe a week or so ago that when was it? But with the C-3PO should have been the one to enact the Holdo maneuver. You would like that plan, where he gets his moment of being the hero, where he's been the kind of like bumbling and a little bit of comic relief, and then he proffers this like, well, it doesn't have to be a human, could be a droid, and then they all look at him, and he pilots the ship into the whole thing, and he gets this.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, and except that there's no C-3PO at the end of it. But other than that, I like it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't like the fact that it removes one of the best parts of Rise of Skywalker, but I do like.
Sure.
I like him having that moment.
I mean, it's one of the best parts, but then they undercut it too.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean him in general. C-3PO is one of the
right.
highlights
Gotcha,
of Rise of Skywalker throughout. But yeah, again, then they could have, Baby Grooted it and just kind of been like at the beginning of, or at the end of this one, or the beginning of the next one, then being like, oh, R2-D2 has a backup.
Little tiny C-3PO.
Little tiny C-3PO dancing in a pot.
I love it.
Speaking of which, I think for some reason, I think it's really funny when we see Snodsmean Mebbles from the point of view
Love
of
it.
Holdo.
Love it.
And we see Holdo, and he's this tiny little floating hologram.
Who dies?
The fact that he's so tiny makes it like if he was like human size, it would seem more tragic. But the fact that he's like this, goodbye everybody, and then he disappears. It cracks me up.
Maybe
It's also-
he really is that size, though. Well, we don't know.
Oh,
we
maybe.
just see the cockpit could just be,
Yeah, there's no other people around. They would have been enormous if they had been there.
That's why it had to be him. They're like, well, we could have had a droid do it, but they can't fit in that tiny cockpit. So,
Oh yeah.
I love the holograms in the Star Wars universe. And again, another thing that doesn't make any sense and is ridiculous the more you think about it. Like it's kind of, they're always delightful, and they always are like, wait, like what? How does this work? I do love that. Like the hologram thing is it's so choosy, but also it always picks what's right for the movie about what shows up and when.
Mhm.
So like, it's like, oh, I probably have better things to worry about, but like, let me just capture some of these fireballs for this hologram and send them on over there. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just so weird and silly the way it works like that, but it's great. It's great. So the medical frigate, man,
Yes.
in the Jordan bragging section of the show,
Sure.
I got to see the original. I assume original from the original trilogy medical frigates up close when I was working on the Star Wars books. The kit, the model, it was in the Star Wars, in the Lucas archives. We got a tour of it, and it's a big one. It's a pretty big model, but it's super cool. And
How big is it from tip to like the length? 6 feet?
no, I don't.
2
think it's that big.
meters?
I think it's more like it's a little bit
Like
smaller than that. Because
you could have
here's
picked
the
it
deal.
up and run off with it if you had.
No.
If you
And
had-
also,
no?
I think
You attach it to the back of your
behind
boat.
glass, but it wasn't behind glass.
Hmm.
So we didn't touch it though. This will give you a little bit of
Alex
a scale,
and I
though.
planning our heist. How big is it exactly? Is it behind glass?
This will give you a bit of the scale though, because one of the things that's so cool about it, so the design, right? So it's got the long neck, and then it's got that kind of bulky section that's all jagged like this,
Mm-hmm.
That is, if you get up close to it, super classic, awesome kit bashing. Those bumpy bits, those are just different models, man. That's just boats and submarines and plane bodies, just like stuck together. And you can get up close and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely what that is. And then you just don't get that close in the movie. You're always
that's
back
cool.
looking at it. It's just like lots of, so that, that's probably a submarine about this big, a submarine model that you would get at a model shop. And a bunch of that stuff all stuck together. It was super cool to see up close. It was so neat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a shame they don't do that anymore, but I think nowadays they've probably gone full circle and are now back to doing kit bashing. Do they still make plastic models?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still a thing. Yeah. In fact, they still do Star Wars ones. I have not done it because I'm not into like fine model painting, but I did actually just get into over the pandemic Star Wars Legos. I've got like, I don't know, 10,
I've seen your
sets that I've been using. They're so much fun. All right, wait, before we move on about that, talking about the kit bashing.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you. You don't like
to say bad things about kit, but in this case,
but car is really a better.
No, I was being short for Kitster. That kid. He's a punk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell a thing here because you guys are Star Wars fans and I think you'll like it, and I don't think it's real. It's a project I think should exist, and I'm gonna talk about it as much as possible because I don't care who steals it as long as it happened.
Ooh.
I want them to make a movie about the making of Star Wars. And I think this is a sure thing. This will be amazing. And here's why. For a lot of reasons. First of all, because Star Wars is great and everybody loves it. And so lots of people will want to watch this movie because they will think it's good. Second of all, on the special effects side, you are literally going to need to go, hey, guess what, special effects people? We need you to actually recreate the special effects from Star Wars, both so they can look like it on screen, but also so we can see what it's like behind the scenes. They will go crazy. They will like, yes, of course I will rebuild all of and make the old camera and make the old this. That'll be awesome. But also, I think the story is amazing because I read that giant, beautiful Making of Star Wars book.
By Rinsler?
Yes, although technically I have the physical one right around this corner. That's why I'm pointing to it. I actually read it on my phone because I downloaded the Kindle version as well, which by the way has audio clips and video clips, and it's super cool as well. Anyway, I have both. The story is amazing because it's a weird, motivational, aspirational tragedy. It's this movie about a visionary filmmaker who comes up with an idea that is awesome and cool that nobody, not literally nobody, but nobody believes in, right? But he fights for it and he keeps pushing for it and he goes against all odds. The studio is literally trying everything they can to stop this film, to sell it, to do everything they can. It happens. It comes out. It's a huge movie, the top selling movie of all time, giant success from day one, lines around buildings. And the creator goes, it's not good enough. It's not the way I wanted it. Mm-hmm. When I watch it, all I see is the compromises. The entire world is going, you have done something amazing and changed filmmaking forever. And he's like, I got some more tweaks. I'm going to go work on it. I think that's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And I can't believe no one's making it. I have to think of that.
I think, they're over on my other show, Godfather Minute, the news is that they're doing a TV series about the making of The Godfather, like a drama acted out with actors and stuff, not a documentary. So I bet if they pull that off, I bet that we'll see more of those types of movies. And I forgot. Yeah, that's the other thing I forgot to mention was the actors. The actors, you have to hire actors to play the Star Wars actors, and people will be all over that. Right. And then they should simultaneously film a making of that movie, which they can release as a documentary about the making of Star Wars.
I was going to say you go the other way, which is that you can make more Star Wars, because the thing they did in Doctor Who. Are you guys Doctor Who fans?
Oh,
passing.
They made a Doctor Who, a docu-film about the making of Doctor Who, the creation of Doctor Who, and they hired, I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays Filch in Harry Potter, they hired him to play the first Doctor, to play the actor who played the first Doctor. And then on Doctor Who, they had him play the first Doctor in another thing. And so it's like, oh, that's great. So there you go. You got to get Alden Ehrenreich to play Harrison Ford.
Right.
You're trying to work in a secret reboot, aren't you?
Well, you could you could go both ways.
Stories.
You do film a making of while you're doing it, and also film a new chapter.
Yeah.
And all of this could be on Disney Plus. See, I was going to say that you wouldn't get an authorized version of this because you wouldn't want the people who were involved to okay it because they look dumb for not okaying it, essentially.
But it's in the Lucasfilm book.
But now it's Disney
Right.
So like Disney might want to be like, yeah, those jerks at Fox. Like that's why we bought them. You know what I mean?
I mean, again, this is all in the Lucasfilm book. This is
Right.
the official. Like, I'm sure there are worse things that they don't put in the book, but this is all the stuff that's in the book.
No, I'm from his perspective. I'm sure, like he was all for it. So if it was just George Lucas approving things, he would be probably fine with it because it does make him look like a visionary, which is great. But I think to get the business end of the story might be easier now. So it might be a great Disney Plus prestige TV project.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Favreau, if you're listening, I want a cameo as the guy in the pink undershorts holding the boom mic. That's the role I want.
You got to start working with a trainer now to get that because that guy was pretty buff.
All right.
So,
What if they called you up and said, "Listen, we want to give you a cameo. It's not that one though.
Yeah.
We want you guys to play the guys who hate Star Wars and are like, kill it, do everything." And so then every Star Wars fan will hate you forever.
Oh,
there's no role I would not take in that project.
Right.
So, yes, I love this idea.
All right.
Yeah. So speaking of the size of things, the anodyne, which means this means painkiller or something that soothes you, which is a good name for a medical ship.
Mm-hmm.
It is 549 meters long. And of course, on the show, the original Enterprise was 289 meters long, so it's almost exactly 2 Enterprises long. In case you're keeping track at home. So
now, is it the same model as the medical frigate from the old ones, or is it a new?
You tell us.
Let's see. You guys are probably actually way more experts than I am, but
I'm going to guess it's not the same one. It looks like it has additional parts to it, which are not in the original. It has like side things sticking out that weren't in the original model.
Wikipedia seems to be saying, that it was built for the New Republic. So this is a newer model. That's cool.
I wanted to again. That's. We're going. I'm going to keep digging into this until I get everybody to agree that it is timely that you're here. Anodyne is a word that I know from comics because when the X-Men went to Asgard and Loki gave Madeline Pryor healing powers, her name was Anodyne, and that's the first time that I encountered that word and knew that it means healing from that since then. So,
all right. Maybe it's timely.
See,
I had the same experience with the word dichotomy, which I learned in relation to Dark Phoenix. They said the dichotomy of being Phoenix and Dark Phoenix is what destroyed her. And I was like, dichotomy? Who's that? And,
right.
So,
did you learn any words from Star Wars? Not including Star Wars words.
Right. Yeah. Gonk.
I'm trying to think if I know any specific vocabulary words that I learned from Star Wars.
I'm trying to think of one too. Yeah, like it's tough. I don't think so.
We also get a little tiny bit of Hux here.
Oh yeah,
for a moment. Bleep that out. Yes, I love the look on his face that he gets when he says when he tells them to blow it up. He looks like a kid who can't believe he's finally going to get to do something that he's always wanted to do but wasn't allowed to do. So
right, and especially again, that's being gleefully evil. Donald gleefully evil. He gets to be like, not only is it like, I get to blow up a ship, but it's like, I get to blow up a medical frigate. I get to blow up a hospital.
Yeah.
What's funny about it is when he gives the order. Like, I mean, you're like, it is. He's like lusty about it. Like he's like staring at it. But the weird part is that he's not staring at the actual ship, even though they can definitely see it. He's staring at the hologram, super
hollow
up close.
model.
It's just like,
right, like, being at a sporting event and watching the action on the scoreboard and not when it's going on.
Yes. I mean, I guess it's pretty far away, but still, I would think they could see it happen.
Yeah. My last comment is that, they say they have 6 hours of fuel left. So it's now, what was last? We heard 18 hours. So it's been 12 hours since Rose and Finn left. Because I thought they had 18 hours left. Rose and Finn.
Rose and Finn and Goldenrod. That timeline, like giving us little time updates is a weird thing that we don't get. Every once in a while, somebody will just throw out one bit of time in Star Wars and you can connect these, really disparate dots. But to keep getting updates, be like, all right, now we only have this much. It's like, wait, what? Okay.
Well, that was actually in the original Star Wars, of course, when the Death Star will be in firing range in 20 minutes, that kind of thing. So,
which isn't, it's so clearly fake. Like it's one of those things that is so clearly changed in the editing, because you can see like the counter going down, and it's like, no, it's going to be in range in like 13 seconds. Like I'm seeing it move and seeing the numbers go down. They're like, no, 10 minutes. Don't worry about that.
That's the countdown to the countdown, which is the previous thing. After that, then we're going to get into the 10-minute zone.
It's not clear that as the Death Star is moving, Yavin is moving away from it at exactly the same rate. So it takes a little bit longer than
it occurs to me that you're talking about timing is reminding me that I said earlier that was the first flashback in a Star Wars film. And I guess technically, though, it isn't. And here's why. Because the first flashback in a Star Wars film was much earlier in this movie. It was the first minute of this movie, because the previous movie ends before this movie begins. Or after this movie begins. This is the first time they've ever done a Star Wars movie that didn't take place at least a year later, if not more.
Right.
And in fact, it takes place earlier. It takes place before Rey climbed those stairs.
Right.
Yeah, it's really weird. The timing of that is really weird.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, again, I love this movie. I just don't know if that's a choice I would have made if it was.
I don't like it. I don't like it being right back to back. It makes it too. It's too tight. Too tight. The science is too tight.
All this science, I don't understand.
Do you guys have anything? 4 minute 63. Anything else?
I did. Well, Godspeed Rebels, not the guy, but the phrase. This is the first time that we hear that, correct?
I think so.
Because it will come up again, and it's interesting that to further our confusion, he's saying rebels, and we know what. No, she should have been like, technically we're the resistance now. Could you take that again? Godspeed Resistance? No, that's weird. You're dead already.
Where do we hear Godspeed Rebels again?
Did we hear it again?
Holdo, I believe, says it again later.
And then they correct her too. So yeah, that's right.
We're the resistance.
No, but I was referencing what the other guy said.
Yeah. Don't you remember Unidentified Anodyne pilot? Come on.
They really need to work on their branding. They use the same symbol as the rebellion. They need to come up with their own branding. So
no, that's exactly it. Half of them think they are in the rebels. They have not even the whole crew has gotten the message. Well, I
think it was like a rights issue. Like someone else had someone else had took the website of rebels.com and they're like, oh, now we got to come up with a new name for it. So, I'm sure rebels.com is used, Pete, so you probably don't have to.
Yeah, I'm worried about who
Pete has a policy of every time
that could be a bad site.
Which way are we going with that? Which way are we going with that? No, it's for sale. It looks like contact us for any business inquiries. Ooh.
Let's do it.
Well, we're going to blow the whole budget of the show to buy that one dumb domain name. But yeah, that's all I have for 63.
All right, then. I will wrap it up by directing our listeners to go to the Star Wars Minute Listener Society on Facebook. I'm not there anymore. Pete has started hanging out there more recently, and
it's nice again.
It's a great place if you want to go to talk to like-minded fans for some civil conversation about Star Wars and its unidentified pilots. Go on there and give a name to that guy pilots. If you can come up with a better name than we did, which was what? Blob Lightspeed? Blob's.
It is now anyway. Blob Lightspeed.
Blob Lightspeed. So tune in tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Blob Lightspeed.
Lightspeed.
Lightspeed.